I am playing in the Maine State Championship. This is one of the most northern states in the U.S. I guess the most northern state in the United States. We're in the deep Northeast now, and I'm playing against a father. He brought 4 kids to the tournament, and he's playing up in the open section. There's an open and a U1725 section, and he's playing in the open. I get paired against him in the first round. The time control is game in 60 plus 5, so kind of on the longer side for tournaments I play. I played in this calendar year, and I love game in 60 and longer, so this is perfect for me. I start with knight of 3. I was debating early on, because I've been playing e4 and knight of 3 pretty regularly. I don't know what I'm going to play until I sit down. But I decided here knight of 3 would be perfect, hoping to get him uncomfortable out of the opening very quickly, and we can just play chess. That's kind of the goal, and that's what I got pretty well, because he played knight c6, but then after d4, white is already super happy, because now it's a d-pawn opening. If black plays d5, contesting the center, now black has put a knight in front of their own pawn, and in a d-pawn opening, that's not good for the c-pawn. To put your knight in front of your own c-pawn in a d-pawn opening is usually pretty bad. So already I'm super happy on move 2. He plays e6, I play g3, and now he plays b6. So he kind of plays like a Queen's Indian, but the knight is kind of misplaced here. And spoiler alert, this knight never finds a good home. He actually spends so much time is wasted with this knight. He plays bishop b7, I castle, and now he continues development with knight f6. And now, because he hasn't contested the center at all, he hasn't put a pawn in the center, I put another pawn in the center here. And I'm hoping to maybe play knight c3 and maybe play e4, get a big white center here, bwc, and then we're going to eventually develop our bishop and try to figure out the game from there. He plays knight b4, so these annotations are from me. This is a no engine recap until the very end of this video. So I think knight b4 is a mistake in some regard, because you should just be developing your other pieces. And right now, knight b4, I think his idea is to play c5 and to strike in the center, but now I'm just going to play a3, forcing the knight back, and now this knight no longer guards a d5 square, so now I can just play knight c3. So now you play c5, I'm just going to be playing d5. And if you take, we're going to get a position like this where I have an advanced d-pawn in your position, and maybe it's not too comfortable for you. Maybe d6 for black, and maybe this position is around equal, but I'm pretty comfortable here. I guess this is like a Benoni kind of, I guess. Not really sure what to make of this, but I think definitely white is not worse in this position. But he played bishop e7, not committing to c5 at all. And then I played knight e5. He asked me after the game why I played knight e5. And I just thought that, like, his light square bishop is his best minor piece. And yeah, my light square bishop is also a good minor piece, but the more minor pieces I trade, the more he's left with this knight on a6 that might not be so good. He has to solve the issue of that. And more importantly, my knight on e5, I think is actually a pretty good knight. And it's difficult for him to play d6 because of knight c6. So my knight controls c6. And if he ever kicks my knight out, then I could potentially hit his queen and bishop and win his dark square bishop. And I think that dark square bishop looks like it will eventually be a good piece. Right now, after d6 is played, does not look like a good piece, but it might be a very good piece in the future for black. So he castles, and now I play e4. So I just decide I'm just going to expand in the center and try to dictate the play of this game. He voluntarily goes knight b8. So I actually thought for a long time on queen a4. This was one of the main moves I was thinking about here. And, you know, one of the things I was calculating, I was like, okay, he can go queen c8. And if I go e4, he can, like, actually take my pawn and play queen b7 to pin the knight to the king. And then if I play f3, he can play f5. Although, I get out of the pin. Why did I think I couldn't get out of the pin? I think I was just hallucinating. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think I could get out of the pin. I can just I can just play f3 here. Okay, I thought there was this knight takes e4 tactic in some cases, but then I also thought that queen c8 is kind of dumb. Like he'll probably just play knight b8 voluntarily to bring his knight back to c6 and maybe play c5 or d6 and queen d7 or d6 and knight d7. And I thought that like let's say knight b8 here, and let's say I go like e4 now. Then I was thinking d6, knight f3, queen d7, and I was just like, what am I doing? I'm like going back with all my pieces. Like I go forward just to go backwards. That doesn't seem very good. So instead of going queen a4, I just went e4, and then I went d5. So I gave myself a little great move marker there, because I think this is the real way to try to press an advantage here. Because now with the knight back on b8, now I can't go to c5 as quickly. So now he's not going after, d5, he's not going to go knight c5 immediately. And now d5 stops his knight from developing to c6. So I thought this was a very nice move here. He plays d6, forcing my knight back. And here I do wonder what is the best move here. So if I haven't said this before, this is no engine recap until the very end of this video. So hopefully we can both learn something through this process. But yeah, so I was thinking after the game that maybe knight d3 is the better move here. I'm eyeing c5, I'm eyeing e5, eyeing f4, and so I thought this might be the way to keep the game more interesting. I play knight g4, which I don't think is a bad move. I just don't think it might not be the best move. And there's one interesting thing he could do. He could actually sacrifice his knight on e4 again, and after knight takes, he can play f5, forking my knights, and then if I bring my knight back, he can take. And this is I'm probably not worse in this position at all. Like he'll probably take my pawn. I can take back with my knight, and then I can play h4, h5, h6 maybe, or just develop my bishop and put my rook in the center. So, and luckily he's still a little bit underdeveloped with his knight on b8, but he can solve it pretty quickly here with knight d7, knight e5. So I've actually thought like that could be a good try, or just taking in general could be a good try for him. But he didn't do any of that. After knight g4, he played queen d7, which I think that was a huge mistake. Because now he's actually getting rid of a square for his knight to develop on. Like he should be trying to play knight d7 here and continue development. But instead he played queen d7, blocking his own development. And yeah, it just doesn't feel very good. I think his idea is to take the pawn on d5 and hit the knight twice, which is logical enough. But now I just rotate my knight to e3, and now it's like, okay, well, what are you actually doing? Like, how are you actually getting all your pieces in the game? Like, you're not right now. You're really not. You're not getting all your pieces in. So he plays c6. So now if I take, then then my pawns aren't working together as well as they are right now. Like right now I'm controlling the center. It's all blocked up. And I evaluate that, like, because his rook and knight are in the corner, he's basically playing down two pieces right now. Because his knight and bishop, or knight and rook are in the corner, I can actually just throw haymakers on the other side of the board, g4. Which I think this is an excellent way to ask questions here. How are you going to defend? And hey, what if I play g5 and h4? What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? I think practically speaking, it's at least a very good try, even if it's not blessed by the engine. I'm not sure, but I think starting a kingside attack here is a really good strategy, in my opinion. Obviously, since I played it. He took in the center, I took back, and then now he played h6. But now he's pushing pawns in front of his own king. And I'm not really sure if that is the best approach, to be honest. And once again, this queen is really not really participating, and really this knight, it should be on d7 by now. But he plays h6, I play h4, now he plays knight h7. So his idea is to back up with the knight to spring forward now. My h-pawn is being attacked. If I play h5, well, now I'm giving up the dark squares on the king side. And now he can play knight g5 or bishop g5. And I don't think that's, that very effective here. I'm not breaking through on the king side. I'm creating weaknesses for myself. So after knight h7, I play rook h1 to defend my pawn. He attacks my pawn, and one of my first thoughts was knight b5. Knight b5 here. So if he takes, I can sacrifice the rook to win the other rook, and I was like, maybe this is actually not bad. But I actually thought to myself, I actually evaluated that this is actually not very good for me, because if he goes knight d7, I can take, he can take. Okay, great. So he won a pawn. He's still up a pawn at the end of the day. And I got rid of a very nice knight for his rook in the corner, and my king is less safe. Like, that just seems bad, to be honest. Simply bad. So that's why after, and also he can also, after knight b5, play a6, and I was like, okay, I'll just go knight d4, and then if he takes, then I can take, and if he takes, I was like, this still doesn't look that good for me, to be honest. Why am I doing this? This doesn't seem very good. So, that's why after queen d8, I went king g3. So, kind of ballsy, but the thing is, I know this d6 pawn is not going to be moving for a while now, so my king is kind of safe on this diagonal, surprisingly, and, just going king g3 here, unafraid and center of the board with 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks, and a queen, kind of awesome. I love this kind of chess. He plays knight d7, I play f4. So now, blocking his knight from getting back into the game. If he goes knight c5 here, I can play b4 potentially, and continue forcing his pieces back here. But after f4, he makes a pretty crazy decision. I think this is his last mistake in this position, in this game, where he plays g5, which I just don't think is very good, because now your king is really weak, and it kind of justifies all of the pawn play I've been doing in this game, because now I just take, and I have a tough decision. If I take on g5, now all of his pieces get out. So I play f5 here. So now your own pawn blocks your bishop, blocks your knight, and now I'm just attacking the e6 pawn, and he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't do anything about it. He goes king g7 now, and now I just take twice on e6, and after he moves his knight, I go check. If you go forward, this is just checkmate. And if you go backwards, which is what he did in the game, well, now I go queen c2. I'm x-raying the knight on h7, but more importantly, I'm going to h2, and now I'm throwing in queen h6, and then queen g7, checkmate, check and mate here. So that was my plan. He throws in a little bit of a haymaker, a left hook out of nowhere. He goes rook takes c3, sacrificing his rook. What else is there to do? And now he goes queen c7 here, targeting c3, but also prepping a discovered check. So if I go bishop e3, he can go check here, and there's no way for me to not allow queens to be traded. After queen c7, I go queen h6 here, and now, I calculated for a while because I had to make sure this was completely winning for me, but it's definitely winning for me here. He said after the game, after queen h6, he should have gone check, but I don't think that changes anything at all, because now I go king g2, and I'm threatening mate here. The only way to stop checkmate, what is the only way to stop checkmate? He can go like bishop c5, for example, guarding laterally. But now I can probably go d7 here, re-threatening the checkmate, attacking the rook. So now if you go rook up here, now I can probably just go check. And the king has to move, and then I take the rook. That's probably the simplest thing to do, to be honest. After queen c7, I play queen h6, and now he takes the pawn on e3. I block, he gives a check, I go king f3, and I know he's going to go give a check, but now I go king e2, and now there's no more checks. I'm hitting the knight twice. I'm threatening mate if this queen isn't on this diagonal, and I'm threatening mate on h7, so nothing you can really do here. He sacrifices his rook, because what else is there to do? And I take, and then I take back the rook. I'm threatening mate on h8 if this queen moves, and on f7 as well. So what are you going to do? It was 94. It allows me to checkmate. This game definitely felt good. It definitely felt good. I definitely did a good job of, I think g4 and h4 here was really creative and actually pretty good. I don't think he could have punished me for it. I think the way he played was very suspicious with queen d7 here. Queen d7 and then g5 later. I think that just was not the right way to play. So I'm very happy to be able to punish his kind of play, and just play actively and fun chess. So can't really complain at all. So I'm going to end the recap here. I'll hit the game review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.